Damn, walking around the school campus, man. They already know what's about to happen. Yo, I need to find the crew right now. I'm on the investigation, on the search right now. Oh, they don't even know what's about to happen. Watch this. Oh, look at the crew right there. They bugging. What are you studying? Oh. Yo. Yo, y'all ready? Yo, we about to do this right now?
What we doing?
Yo, we about to review this chapter 24 real quick. What?
Oh,
We about to do this right now, yo.
Chapter 24, we gotta do this right now.
I bet. Let's get it right here.
All right.
The Industrial Revolution unfolded in Britain and Western Europe, eventually tipping the balance of global powers in favor of the West. The economy of mechanization.
Oh, why should that be so boring right now? Yo. Let's take a double take real quick, alright? Shoot.
Wavy Boy Productions.
The Industrial Revolution first unfolded in Britain and Western Europe, eventually tipping the balance of global power to favor the West. As the industriousness rose, people worked longer hours and tried to find new ways to make goods. They developed thousands of new inventions in the process. The economy improved people's lifestyles and life expectancies. This encouraged people to work harder and acquire the new products entering the market. Before the rise of the industry, the British and other Europeans traveled the world to discover technological developments. And in this, there was global trade, exchange, scientific revolution, and the Enlightenment formed the backdrop for the Industrial Revolution. Global shipping had developed over 3 centuries. It became more central to industrial progress in the 18th and the 19th century. To supply and feed urban workers, global shipping brought grain from North America, wood from Canada and Russia, cotton from Egypt and the U.S. Global trade networks and raw materials from around the world were critical to the Industrial Revolution. Slaves produced many elements crucial to the industrial success. They produced low-cost agricultural products such as sugar and rice. In the 18th century, British inventors devised tools such as the flying shuttle. This was used to speed the weaving of textiles, and James Hargreaves invented the spinning jenny. The world's first factories arose from the pressure to increase production of English cloth for the growing global market. Steam engines could power a large number of machines, and so this drew people to factories. The steam engine was first used in gold and silver mining, then in textile production, and finally in driving trains and steamboats. The interchangeability of parts was a critical aspect. This lowered the cost per weapon and made repair possible at any part of the world. After 1830, industrialization brought important ongoing efficiencies. Even though the industry developed unevenly in different places, it affected the wider world by increasing demand for raw materials and creating new livelihoods. Steam engines were used to move manufactured goods on railroads and shipping lanes. This created new jobs outside of factories. After 1880, electricity became more available. This provided light to power homes and buildings. Industrial nations mined and produced massive quantities of coal, iron, and steel during the second half of the century. Industrialization reduced traditional crafts like weaving, and chemical fertilizers boosted crop yields. And so the U.S. industrialized rapidly after the Civil War. Japan joined after, then Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Mexico at varying rates. 2 countries, Germany and the U.S., began to surpass Britain in research, technical education, innovation, and growth rates. There was also industrialization in Japan. Japan exported pottery, 2 million pieces, to South Asia. They had craft-based innovation, which produced new kinds of seeds. Japanese inventors aimed to replace this new system with Western-style factory or mass production, beginning with textiles, guns, railroads, and steamships. And by the earliest 20th century, the country had some 32,000 factories, many of them small. They had 5,400 steam engines and 2,700 machines run by electricity. The industry and the expansion of the global economy brought uneven prosperity to the world and seesawing booms and busts, especially in the second half of the 19th century. One reason for the skyrocketing recession of the 1870s was the startup costs of new enterprises, because it was expensive to buy machinery. It increased productivity in both agriculture and industry, leading to rapid price declines. And so people lost their lands, jobs, and businesses, with consequences ranging from long stretches of unemployment to bankruptcy. But there was new laws that protected innovation and spurred development of the limited liability corporation. These laws protected investors from personal responsibility for a firm's debt. There were also business people who took steps to end the economic turmoil. They advanced the development of stock markets. And so the principal institution for boosting consumption was the department store, and this aimed to stimulate more purchases.
Oh, what's up? Oh, we're gonna talk about the Industrial Revolution and the world, alright? By me. Boom! So first things first, there was an increase in industrial development, but with that, you know, it causes like struggles in an economic standpoint outside the West. Like, my peoples outside the West, they was trying to get that paper, but it was too hard for them because, you know, there was an increase in industrial development. Like, damn. Due to the Industrial Revolution, economies in China, India, and the Opium Empire declined. Their economies declined, and also some Western nations want to use their big boy guns and use their weaponry to open trade. Yeah, they had like, you know, they had just not even second thought. Just use the big boy guns. Pow pow. Ugh. Wow, like pow pow. That wasn't even funny. Like, that was whack. With these industries, things change, you know? Things change, people change everywhere. Everybody was living good, because you know why? Because, you know, everything was industrialized. I can't blame them. Look at this. Fake. We're going to talk about the slow interrogation, disinterrogation, I said that completely wrong, of Queen China. Yo, China, like I say, China became too predictable. Man, British knew that China was gonna buy opium from them. Like, British got opium to sell to China, like, cause they was too predictable. They knew China was gonna buy it. Like, come on, China. Look at that. They robbing your money. China's government was on it. It was on the opium. Yo, they forced British to, like, they forced them, like, you know, to give them all the opium they possessed. Like, goddamn, China, shoot, give them some opium. And then the Opium War started from 1839 to 1842. So finally, opium was legalized. Yeah, get a round of applause, yo, you know, it allowed, like, it gave British merchants so much money. And it even paved the way to freaking, like, you know, trade with freaking China better. All I'm saying, it helped them out in a big way. It helped British out. It gave them a big dub. Yeah, British, you got the opium legalized. Oh yeah. I'm gonna tell you guys about the competition of West and South Africa. Yeah. I gotta change it up, you know, real quick. I gotta put it hat in the front real quick. Yeah, that's all I gotta say, you know. But let me tell you guys something about the West, man. I'm telling you about the West industrial powers, man. They sent some less expensive yarn, thread, and woven cloths to other markets, bro. Like, yo, they were messing up all the trades. Like, the balance was all funky. Yo, all I gotta say for the females out there that were unmarried, and who were, like, you know, like, and who were less expensive to hire than men, were just lifelong artisans. Like, their whole life were just artisans. That's it. All I gotta say, Ottoman merchants, they were stacking up, man. They were paper. That's all I gotta say. Cause, man, they were just selling their cotton around the markets everywhere for steamboats and railroads. Just He was just sending them, man. They prospered so much. Yo, even though it made life hard for others, that's my dog right there. That's why I know the noise. Yo, it gave so many people so like dummy opportunities. Like there's so many opportunities. Not even joking with you. The first textile factory started in Bombay in like 1843, I think. Right? Let me check my sources. Scratch that 1853. And then in like 1914, India made the fourth largest textile factory, and they also made, let me check my notes one more time. Oh my god. They also made the longest railroad in the world, man. Look at India go. Let's give it applause for India. India, you did it, man. Y'all were almost number one. Right? Y'all number 4. Oh yeah, we're finally done. Finally done with my part. Shoot, I'm gonna pass this off to Soleil in a few. I'm gonna tell you guys, peace out. You guys, I feel sorry for y'all to see this ugly face. I gotta deal with this every day. But you guys seeing, I don't know how many minutes it's gonna be, but bam, I'm sorry you guys see this. Literally, I'm sorry. But you know what? See you guys later. Whoop.
Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the changes in the middle class. The middle class consisted of aristocrats, peasants, and serfs. Around this time, most factory owners joined this middle class. Factories grew and grew, and the owners became successful society leaders. The middle class kept expanding to include doctors, lawyers, and professors. They all gained prestige as they served the wider population of industrial society. In 1876, industrial museums were opened to spread technical knowledge more widely to the public. This led to wealthy citizens opening parks and other art, history, and science museums. The middle class gained comfort and prosperity, while the industrial workers led work lives with machines and factories. The majority of the new working class were young, unmarried women whose families didn't need them on their farm anymore. So basically, their parents were like, all right, it's time for you guys to go ahead and get a job. So the women went to these factories for employment. But women were always looked down upon as if they were less than men. So they always got paid less. But they chose to stay there since working in a factory had a much more stable wage than being a maid. The factory life was very dangerous though, and it led to many, many injuries. So there were broken fingers, broken hands, broken legs, everything. So this was just one factor as to why people were getting so tired and they felt like they were just wasting their years inside a factory all day long. But then there were others who were angry at the fact that machines were now taking over their jobs. And it came to a point where a group called Luddites attacked factories and they destroyed all the new machines. And it ended horribly when the British government executed and imprisoned many of them. The Industrial Revolution also caused major changes in the sexual division of labor. In some places, men's work was similar to women's work. But women's work in factories, even though it might be identical to men's, was said to acquire less work and it always received lower pay. So women were put down there even though we're up there, and the men were put up there even though they're down there. But so the main reason why married and unmarried women would work here is because they wanted to be able to provide for their families or themselves. So it would make sense why they would go through all of that. Some factory owners would basically be pervs, and they would just ask for special favors from women. And it's pretty disgusting to think about, but they would ask for kisses and other sexual favors in return for employment. Employers would hire white-collar workers, which was women with skills, but still never got paid the same as men. Women were just treated like they were worse class.
So now we're going to talk about African women and slave agriculture. So during the Industrial Revolution, Europe and America used the idea that the African continent was filled with unskilled people. They used that ideology to justify their enslavement and discrimination against all people of color. Specifically in Africa, farming was a big thing, and because of that, there always had to be new innovations in farming. Many inventors of agricultural machines were women of color. African women dominated farming and cultivating and they introduced new seeds and tools for farming, as well as inventing canals, sluices, and embankments to control water flow. Now, besides farming, many women of color served as concubines and domestic servants as well. On the other hand, male slaves were artisans, importers, and traders. They hunted for prized commodities such as elephant tusks, which were made into piano keys, handles, combs, and other objects. However, the only fair thing was that both African men and women, when married, were given land. Now, this allowed both free and slave women to own slaves, but only to increase agricultural productivity. Now, these rules were given to them by their owners, but like most power-hungry people, the rules only benefited themselves. All their owners wanted was more agricultural innovation. Now we're going to talk about North America. Landowners in South Carolina and Georgia prized African slave women. They considered them choice cargo because of their agricultural knowledge. The president at the time, Thomas Jefferson, was intrigued by the African way of growing red rice. I guess you can say he, in a way, promoted slavery. Now, overseas, American men added African women to their cargo along with grains in order to spread African agricultural ideologies to Europe. By doing that, they introduced rice to North America, the art of seeding, and the complex technology of irrigation. Now, to sum it up, women played a vital role during the Industrial Revolution. Yes, they were taken advantage of in the process, but the knowledge they gave to us then gives us what we have now.